Evening all, welcome back to Dust, and what we're going to show you today is some ambush. We're doing ambush a bit more, to be honest. I don't really know why. This was early footage actually. This was me using my massdriver for the first time about a month ago. I know, old footage, but it's funny because when you do these videos, the first thing you do is you kind of remember to yourself, well, you know, 3-4 good matches here, there and everywhere, and you think to yourself, well, I'll do this one because it's got this, and I'll do that one because it's got that. And you try and pace it out because you don't want kind of 20 videos in a row, all of the R&D complex, for example. So I had this one from a while back, and I thought I'd share it because it's just a nice kind of example of the massdriver. I do like this gun, and I think it's really just a conversation around the mechanics of using said gun. For example, with the massdriver, what you find is you remember those hazy, crazy days of summer when scouts were really good. Well, we're kind of still there, but you know they were just ridiculous, and their strafing, etc., was really difficult. Well, as with everything with CCP, there is always a counter for something. So what actually you find, look at that, long range. What you find is that actually with certain fits, there is actually a pretty good tactic to counter it. And what am I on about? Well, I'm on about the fact that the massdriver is the best anti-scout weapon ever. And the reason why is because the area of effect, doesn't matter how good you are at strafing, son, you're going to get owned. So definitely consider having a single massdriver fit, maybe with a kind of high, kind of hit point suit. And you'll do quite well because I've got to admit, this is my anti-scout fit. And it works quite well. It's a relatively weak fit already, so needs a bit of tweaking. But what effectively it can do is a scout rushes you, as long as you can roughly put the round where the splash damage will get them, and you've got 6 meters to do that, because it's got a 6-meter splash range, this fine weapon has, it means you're going to give them a bad time, and that is really what it's about. Now, most scouts generally don't brick tank as well, not for the speed that they need, so having a pretty robust speed tank, I guess, is what they rely on to actually not get hit. And plus, when they start strafing, yada yada, it's pretty difficult to hit them. So guns like this, I think, make a lot of sense. They really have sorted this out. I mean, it is a grenade launcher. I don't know why they call it a mass driver, because that kind of bothers me, but it really is a grenade launcher, and it's also a pretty good one. Now, in certain maps like this, it's not the best gun to use, but look at that long range kill again. When you have this gun in other maps, like the R&D complex or tightly controlled areas, this is a devastatingly powerful gun, so seriously consider it. Now, also, I'd recommend you use it as I am here. I'm bombarding an area, and this is something not to be underestimated, because you do get quite a bonus, if you like, for bombardment of an area with this kind of gun. So you see there, we know they're up there, so all I'm doing here is I'm just trying to put the shot near them and then get the splash damage to do the damage. It usually forces them to make a mistake, and then they go into the sights of the enemy, or rather the friendly troops, and that's a really good kind of tactic to use them for. I've noticed that worked well before. Now look at that, Stefan just got a triple kill with Nova knives. Madness, I hear you cry, madness. That's a shame, isn't it? I'd love to have seen more weapons for close combat. I know we spoke about this before, and it seemed to get a fair bit of support. It would be good to have Nova swords, Nova clubs, and Nova sledgehammers, Nova chainsaws, Nova cutting blades, Nova kitchen knives. It would have been funny to have just a whole range of Novas. Just because I think people like the melee side of this. I mean, if you look at Destiny, sorry to mention it, but if you look at Destiny, melee is actually quite central to it. It's also a very kind of fun thing to do. I would love to have seen melee made a bit stronger in this game, because it is actually a very enjoyable part of the game when you get a melee kill. You feel like you are king of the world when you get one. And I've always quite liked the idea of melee as well, but it's just because it's so weak, you don't generally you don't rely on it in this game. Having said that, there is all of the tools to do so. The carbonizers or whatever they're called. There is the skills, the modules, and the tactics to do it. But I think that's always been the problem, is it's never entirely easy to do that easily, because generally aim assist is so strong, etc. So we'll have to see how melee develops in the coming game. In Legion, I hope it's a bit better, because surely in Legion it should be a lot easier to melee as well, but we'll see. So there we go, look at this, very quick ambush. We're sort of stomping them a bit, in fact. I feel kind of bad about that. And again, one of the things to maybe talk about, because we didn't talk about it in the last video, and I said I would, but I didn't, because I forgot, because I'm a knob, was the OMS still, ambush OMS still having vehicles. Now, my point on this is, I kind of like that it does, but I don't like that it's abused. There you go, that's my position. Seriously, that's it. That is my position. I really like that you do get vehicles in, as my text goes, I do like that you get vehicles in ambush OMS, but I don't like the fact that they're just so massively abused. It is frustrating to me because I think there's a really good fight to be had in ambush. I honestly would just split the two out again. I don't know if it was because player numbers were too low. I don't know, but I honestly would just split it out so that there was an ambush mode and then there was an ambush OMS mode. So players who want to play ambush OMS can continue to do so because it is a fun round when you don't get people like Duna in it. Now, Duna's just incredibly good with a tank, but he's kind of, we kind of need to save him from himself because what he's effectively doing is kind of ruining the game for a lot of players. I always get a bit funny kind of comments when I say this. Let me try and explain it. Really good players have the ability to destroy a game as easy as any hacker has, because in essence what they'll do is they'll just completely ruin the experience of other players. You know what I mean? I think is going to be tricky. I think in my mind there needs to be something that keeps the really good players away from the not so good players or the newer players, and there needs to be something that keeps hackers out of the game entirely. So it's this kind of thing, and I think what the problem is at the moment is there's too many scenarios where very, very good tankers end up in an OMS and they ruin it. They just make it so that you have to cover your arse completely. This is such a simple fix in my mind. Bring back AV grenades that work. I mean, tanks were powerful back in the day, but they were also incredibly at risk of AV grenades. If a group of people fit for infantry had AV grenades on them, then they could cover themselves against a tank. I don't understand why they removed or changed AV grenades to be so shit. It's as if they didn't really understand what they were doing. So now you have to, basically, to take a tank down, you have to have a fit that is designed to take a tank down. That's a good thing. But it's also too easy to then have basically the ability to run away, the ability to completely screw over a team because they have to switch between one and the other. I honestly would make AV grenades better, give them 4, and then make it so that if a tank rushes a group of infantry, it's in real risk and real peril across the board. I honestly think that's the only way to do it. No tank in real world would ever rush a gang of infantry because you don't know what they're armed with. Whereas now, if they see you've not got forge guns and swarmers, they're going to rip you to pieces. And I hate that. I really do. I think tankers should always have to have something to worry about. And if you do see AV grenades and you see things like that, then your skill is to get the hell out. And if people don't do that, well, what can you do? Anyway, post in the comments. Tell me what you think, bro. Do you think AV grenades are the solution here? Or should they just remove the tank entirely from OMS? Me personally, I'd probably say at the moment, remove them. Or just beef up something to take them down in a much, much easier way. There we go. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.